way to come. When we were working this out, Margaret and I, with Mum and Dad, we worked out the best place would actually be just northwest of Windsor. Unfortunately, the Queen doesn't have a spare room, so I'm afraid you've had to come to Chingford instead. I do appreciate you all coming. Maggie and I are very, very fond of Mum and Dad. They're two of the best people you could ask to have as parents. They've always been incredibly good to us, and we're happy to do this today for them. Without further ado, Joy and Frank, Mum and Dad.
Congratulations!
Is this where I speak?
If you wish to.
Right, quiet please!
I knew he would.
I'll start off. How long have I got?
Hang on.
How long do you
Oh,
want?
I just
How long do you want?
say something first.
Oh, Joy wants to speak first. Gender equality and all that. Madam, the floor is yours.
Well, you might like to know it is 66 years since we met. And that makes it 1942, if you can work that out.
They weren't even here.
My dear brother Les, he joined the RAF at Blackpool, and Frank here was with him joining, so they were mates. And Uncle Les, to you, decided that he would bring Frank and another half a dozen RAF men.
So you had competition.
And they were all tea and cakes, which were Russians, but fortunately my mother seemed to have plenty in the larder. And I met Frank, and on the same day we decided to write to each other before he went to South Africa in the RAF. And that's how it started.
Took you a long time, sorry. Took you a long time to catch him. I was confronted with this suggestion at breakfast time this morning. Not the best time of the day to take decisions, is it? And Joyce suddenly said, would I be able to say, I was discussing what I ought to say today, you see, and because I have been thinking about it for about the last 66 years. And I sat there eating my, what was it, apricot, what was it you brought me?
Apricot wheats.
Apricot wheats for my breakfast.
No special
down
case today.
especially from Horncastle.
Absolutely.
You can't get them in Biggin Hill. And I said to Joy, well, why not? Let's do a bit of gender equality today. So that's what we've got. Well done, that's a brilliant effort. That's your first. Anyway, first of all, can I just emphasise what Anna said, how pleased we are to think that so many people are prepared to come and visit such a, what do you call it? Unconsulted couple as us. We're deeply touched by, I think, the fact that so many people have come so far. We've got people here today from the southern counties, if you like, and then the northern counties and Horncastle and various parts of the home counties, and we've even got someone who hails not directly today but comes from Latvia, you see. That's Anna there. We've got a resident of Latvia, and she is with Tom, so I'm sure she's in good hands while she's here.
Of course.
If not, Tom will hear about it, as he's done many times with me. But talking of asking for quiet just now, I will tell you a little story, if I may, about my past when I was working at the London Hospital. And Joy has told me many times over our checkered career that my voice is far too loud when I'm talking, especially on the telephone. Well, I've given up long ago trying to modify it, and I was in my office one day. It was a derelict building that I had an office in. At least Joy always said it was derelict, and when you leave here, she said, you won't get anybody to work there. And my successor promptly said, I'm not going to work there, and they never did. But I had this little old house, and the office was 200 yards from the hospital proper. About 200 yards. All these big hospitals buy up all the property all around, and I was there. And one day I had to do something, talk to the works department, and I got onto the works department and said, could they come and unblock my drain or whatever it was that was going wrong. And we had a little conversation, it was all booked in, And then we said our goodbyes, and I was holding my phone up like that, and the bloke at the other end must have been holding his up like that, and he got a colleague in the office. And before I put my phone down, and before he put his phone down, I heard him say to his colleague, "God blimey, he don't need a bleeding phone, do he?" And I went home to Joy and said, "You've told me that many times, now I truly believe it." I truly believe it. But Alan has said some nice things about us, and that's lovely always to hear from him and Margaret. The things that we might have done in the past have been appreciated, and we know that. But what I want to say today is that we deeply appreciate them and we love them dearly. And this gives us an opportunity to say so. We've got Margaret and Alan and Diane and Roger and family. And very briefly, I'm going to touch upon a few things they've done for us in this last year or two. I don't drive so much these days, so Roger and Margaret got their heads together and said, we will work out transport to get you to Norfolk on holiday and bring you back, and you can have your car up there and you can dodge around, and they do that very kindly. Roger comes down, drives us up in our car, dumps us in Norfolk for a nice holiday. Then they come, we have our car, and they do that, and they've done that for us at Christmas and holiday. So even that's just in recent years. How touched we are to think that they're prepared to do that for us. And then when they come to visit us, invariably seems to be work to be done, and they usually ask us first what we would like done. And this year alone we've had Diane with her loppers, and she's a dreadful thing when you get her loppers. You will hear Diane, she's tamed an unruly pampas grass in the garden, and it hardly dare show its head now. She got busy with her loppers. Alan was on the shed putting a new roof on, which
sitting on the roof.
Sitting on the roof. And Margaret was down and breaks into her holidays twice a year now and comes to see us, and how welcome she is, and how pleased we are to see her. And she does all sorts of jobs because she can't bear to be idle. It may be some difficult shopping. It's more likely to be hedge cutting, or something like laying carpet tiles in the bedroom, or repairing the porch floor.
8 o'clock in the morning start.
Occasion. She can get down there easier than I can. So we have even the youngsters yesterday afternoon were busy working, and they've cleared up the garden and made it look much nicer than it was before. So how fortunate we are. But I did want to say that in front of so many family and friends, we don't always get a chance to appreciate what people do for us as one gets older, and they have rallied round us to such an extent. I felt I simply must say something today. I think that's about all. I've said enough, and said once again, thank you so much for coming on a day that was not at all promising from the weather point of view, and we do appreciate it so greatly. Thank you all very much.
Philip Kane anticipated, Philip Kane did that. Yeah, lovely.
Cheers.
Can you cut the cake?
Can we cut the
Can we cut the cake?
So we can take a photo.
Very good.
Where I am, I'm in the way.